Hi everyone. Welcome to a new episode. I think it's been 2 or 3 weeks possibly since the last time we spoke. So I'm super excited to just catch up with you guys. Last week I was sick. I don't know what I was sick with. Maybe the flu or COVID or something took me out. I was genuinely in bed all week. So I've been recovering and here we are. I don't have a ton planned today. I think we can just chat, catch up, see how everyone's been doing in the past couple weeks, and set a plan for the upcoming weeks, which is what I want to talk about the changes that are happening. So today is August 18th. Next Monday is the first day of school. Uh Everyone's moving in, back to Tampa, moving into their apartments, getting settled this week, and my friends move in this weekend. I moved in last week because I wanted to move in early, but I'm noticing there's just such a change. There's such a shift being back in Tampa, which I've been in Tampa basically all summer, but for a time I was driving back and forth between Tampa and home and being with my friends. But being back in Tampa and this new atmosphere of school starting and everything changing has been a lot. It's been really weird. I love change. I love switching up the routine. I love having a new plan and a new vibe. But I also fucking hate change so much. I have always felt this way. It's such a split because I love things not being the same all the time. I can't survive if everything's the same all the time, the routine, but I don't like change in general. And I think that's a normal thing. So, therefore, in addition to being sick, recovering from my sickness, I've also been recovering from intense seasonal depression. And I think it's so weird. I've always been like this. I always get this seasonal depression. I would describe it right when summer ends, right when school's about to start. And unlike most people where it's in the winter months or spring months, mine lasts from now until December, January even. And it's very weird, but I think it does get started, kind of kicks off with the idea of all the change that's happening. I also, guys, before I just am on my screen this whole time, I wrote down what I need to talk about. So I have it on my list. I don't have a ton of things written down, but I do have some concepts I want to cover. Um, but yeah, so I think this seasonal depression is kicked off with all of this change because it's a lot that I just don't want to deal with and I don't want to handle. And I think I kind of just slide it under the rug. Please let me know if anyone else does this too, or if anyone else has this mindset shift. This past week, 2 weeks, I've been really struggling to get out of bed in the morning and to be productive and be motivated and start my day. Partly being sick, yes, but also mentally, I feel so drained, which is just genuinely not how I want to feel knowing I'm about to start into the school semester and start doing 100 things at once and a ton of different projects and different organizations and all the stuff. Having that on my mind and feeling this drained emptiness obviously is just not sitting super well for me. So I have been trying to figure out how to move past it. I think I've been seeing these I see this TikTok or this video that's depression never hits a moving target or a moving object, which I happen to completely fucking disagree. I think depression can hit any moving or stable object. And so I try to keep that in mind and try to stay active as much as I can. But sometimes it feels like being so active is just really running away from my problems and running away from whatever's going on in my head. And so it's really hard to balance that. But that's something that I've been dealing with a lot this past couple weeks and something that I've been trying to figure out. I think maybe other people might feel this way, maybe not at this specific time in life or this time of the year, but certainly everyone has time periods where they're just low energy, down, drained mentally, physically, whatever. And I think we should talk about that because it's something that I know that all of us are experiencing at some point. And as I said before, some people might be experiencing it like in the winter months or when the sun's not out as much. I remember when I lived in Iowa, it would be all the time because the sun was never out. It was always super gloomy, super cold, and it just was like, ugh, I just don't feel good about life. But the roles have reversed. I'm living in Florida. Like, it's sunny outside all the time. My friends are around, the beach is around, and I'm still feeling this like I don't have any motivation to do anything. I don't want to get out of bed. I can't. I just like, and it feels like there's no thoughts in my head. And if I do get out of bed, every task is like genuinely a task. Getting up and brushing my teeth and like starting the day, such a task, which it's not usually like that for me and it's not supposed to be. So if you are feeling that way, maybe we could brainstorm some ways to like get help or something because I think at this point like I do need to start looking for other help that's not just self medicating in whatever ways I see fit because I don't think it's like working. In this past 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I've been dormant, I've been watching a lot of shows. While I was sick, I was just binging Netflix, and then with this like depressive episode that I can't get out of, I found a lot of the times I will just play a show in the background so that I can just not have anything to think about. But while I've been watching these shows, I watched The Hunting Wives, which I know that came out last year or 2 years ago, and it was a whole thing, and like everyone was like talking about it because it was like kind of freaky and whatever. It's actually so good. 10 out of 10 show. Everyone should go watch it. It is freaky. It's weird as fuck. But I recently watched that. I also just finished yesterday Big Little Lies. I don't know if I can say this on. I don't know if I'm supposed to. I also saw this TikTok that said you should never admit to doing illegal things on camera. And I was just about to do that. But I digress. I finished watching Big Little Lies and it was super good. It is kind of one of those shows where as you're watching, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I genuinely can't follow until the very, very last episode, and there's 2 seasons. So if that's your type of show, go watch it. It was still very good and had really good themes. And one of the themes I wanted to talk about is abuse. That is something that's like a big underlying theme throughout the entire show. And the girl, one of the main characters, is getting abused domestically, like by her husband. And it's all like a bunch of moms, like five, like hot moms who all like that's their job being mom. And they all have little kids. And so this one girl, she is a lawyer. She kind of like put her practice aside, like to get married and have kids and such, but she's being abused. And at one point, she's talking to her therapist, and the therapist is like talking about why, for some reason, she's able to see only the good in him, in her partner, and only see positive things and miss him, even though he's like doing all this abuse to her. And I think that's something that we actually, me personally, if you guys too, also experience this where like we are putting up with things, maybe not physical abuse, maybe emotional, mental abuse, maybe something of a completely different nature. But I think we are really good at putting up with things because of the connection or the bond or the time that you have with someone. And I think that's something that has to stop today. Literally cut it out of your life today. The therapist said, like, I want you to imagine one of the times where he was like abusing you, like beating you up. Like, put yourself back in that time and now put your friend, your best friend, your closest friend, your sibling, put them into that situation and have them be going through that abuse. Would you let that happen? Obviously she's like, no, like she's like freaking out, like what the fuck, if my best friend is getting beat up by my husband, like that's horrible. So then, and it's hard to speak on this because this is not something that I personally have experienced, but I'm going to talk about it in the situation of being in like a toxic relationship where the person is not treating you how you should be. Imagine your best friend going through that. I can't imagine putting Frida through some of the situations that I've gone through and just let them happen because one, the time we've been together for so long, or two, like we have such a connection, three, on their good days, they're really good. All of those excuses and reasons that we stay in toxic situations, I think it's very easy to stay in that because we take on a lot on ourselves and we allow ourselves to go through a lot of things that we would never allow anyone else to do. Remember how I was talking about your brain and how it perceives you talking to your inner voice as someone speaking to you? I think that's how our brains work in every aspect. And I think like we will take on so much abuse and trauma and hardships and troubles for the sake of other people, or just for the sake of being comfortable in a situation, or for the sake of literally whatever the reason is. But if you knew that your best friend was going through that, or your sibling was going through that, you'd be like, absolutely the fuck not, get out of that situation. I think we need to have that kind of mindset for ourselves. We need to be our biggest supporters, our number one in life in general, taking care of ourselves. And I'm not just talking about an abusive situation because I've never been in an abusive situation, so I can't speak on that and I can't tell you what to do in that situation because, of course, I don't have that experience. But in the experience of like chasing people, I wrote this down, chasing people who wouldn't even jog for you, running after someone, chasing something, chasing a situationship, or chasing a partner who wouldn't even fucking jog for you, we need to stop doing that. Because would you let your best friend sit in a situation and be chasing after a guy or trying to get his attention, trying to get with him, and he's not even putting in a tenth of the effort that they're putting in? You wouldn't let that happen to your best friend, but we often find ourselves in those exact situations where you're going for advice from your friends. I recently, I feel like, have been in a situation like this where I'd go to my friend for advice and her advice is all like, Joanna, like, you know the answer, you know what you should do, you're just not doing it. But I know if Frida was in that situation, she wouldn't be in it because we would be like, you know what, let's get out. What are the action steps that we need to take to get out of that situation? I've stayed in so many situations that have been super toxic and unhealthy, and in the end caused a lot of hurt and pain for myself, for the other person, for my friends. And it's like, if I prioritize myself and I put myself in those situations because I feel like I can't get out, or I am just so comfortable, or like, oh, on his good days he's really good, then I think I'm just gonna stay in this cycle of like pain, hurt. You're just hurting yourself over and over again, hoping that someone's going to change when in reality they don't. Do you guys think people can change like that? I really do struggle with this because I don't think people change that much. First of all, I don't think people change unless they really want to change. And second of all, I think we are who we are, especially at this age. If we were dealing with younger kids, I would say people can change it overnight. Like, little kids can act up and act crazy and they don't know what they're doing, or they don't know right from wrong, and then the next day back to normal, perfectly fine. You don't have a grudge with them, you don't hold over their head what they did the day before. But when it comes to adults and 20-year-olds who have lived their whole lives and have all this experience, I don't think it's as easy. I don't think we should be as easily putting bad behavior off to the side because, like, on their good days they're good, on their good days they're good, on their bad days they're bad. On my bad days I'm bad too, but the bad that I'm doing, it's not hurting other people. If you're with someone who's hurting you, who's not putting in effort, who's not willing to jog when you're sprinting, that's just not a good place for you to be in. And this could apply to friendships, this could apply to a situationship, a partner, whatever it might be. We need to accept love that we deserve and love that we are giving back to other people. See how I just got on such a, like, I just went on such a spiral when I was talking about a show. Now I'm talking about accepting love that we deserve. But no, seriously, the Big Little Lies, the show, there's so many different themes, and the setting is, as I said, this group of moms. They all have their kids, they all have school. There's a scandal at school, and they're all coming together, and they all have history and everything. And everyone has like skeletons in the closet, and they're all rich as fuck, whatever. But it does have a lot of themes that I was able to identify and apply in my own life immediately. Like, for example, the abuse and staying in a relationship or staying in a situation that's ultimately hurting you, that you would never dare put one of your friends through. Why are you putting yourself through that? Another theme is loving people who you have history with, even if the history ended badly. I think I've talked about this before, but I don't know if I have. I it's crazy for me to come out here and say I love all my exes because I don't. That's not true. However, I think if you get to share time with someone that is special and has good moments, that's very meaningful to me personally. I have this tattoo and it says, "How lucky are we?" I got it matching with my ex. And every time I talk about this tattoo, I sound like a statistic, like, oh, why would you get a tattoo with your ex? Like, everyone knows you're not supposed to do that. Why would you get a matching tattoo with someone? Blah, 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 blah. I don't love all my exes, but I love the good times that we've shared together. I don't know if this is part of the problem of like staying in abusive situations because I can always find the good in a situation, but I love that I was able to share special moments with special people, even if it was just for a time. Every person that I've been with, like someone that meant something to me, or someone that I told my friends about or told my mom about, all those people still, I can still look at them and think, like, you caused me to go through pain that I should not have had to go through. But during the times that were good that we got to share together, I appreciate that still. But the situations that have ended badly, for example, this tattoo, the ex that I got this tattoo with, ended up kind of ruining a lot of my uh time in high school, I will say. And I think we had a very, very toxic relationship that we were in. Neither of us, we both knew it wasn't healthy. It was kind of a first, like, not a first love in any means, but it was kind of one of my first, like, crazy, passionate, head over heels kind of relationship. And it really did stick with me. But we did share some really special moments, and I viewed this person as probably my best friend throughout the entire time that we were dating. And even after we got these matching tattoos, after we broke up, but I viewed this person as just like one of my best friends, and I had gone through so much with them. And I think that that in itself is a special thing. And so having this tattoo, I can see it as like, yes, horrible situation, horrible ending, but in the time that we had together, how special. And I kind of see that with everyone. I don't know if this is a character flaw or a character trait that's a good one. I think that it's a great thing that I'm able to see that and I'm able to look at them and think, like, you know what? Like, our time together was so special, no matter how short, no matter how it ended. It was still so special to me and I still loved it. And I still have love and care in my heart. I don't love and care that I was getting hurt. Just like same with the situation in high school. I don't love that I was getting emotionally abused and like tricked and lied to and manipulated. I don't love that, obviously. But I love that we were able to like go outside and look at the stars together, and I love that we were able to go for drives, which is my personal favorite thing to do. I love that we were able to go for drives and talk about the future and talk about our childhoods. I love that we had inside jokes. I love all of that. And I'm far out of that relationship now. It's been like 4 or 5 years since I've been in that relationship, but I can look back and see the good and the bad. I can sort it out and it's not all bad, which I think is a good thing. But, however, that might come across as being, since I'm so able to split up the good and the bad and just see, like, okay, these are all the good moments that we had, so special, and I loved them, and this is all the bad things that happened. Because I'm able to do that so easily, I wonder if that's why I'm also so easily able to stay in situations that are hurting me, because I'm able to sort out the good and the bad. I just came to that realization just now, and I'm actually so, I feel like a little therapist. I'm so excited to come to that because it is true. Like, no matter what someone does to me, I'm still able to, not everyone, this is not for everyone, but I am able to look at life in a big scope of like good and bad. And as I said, I don't know if it's a character flaw or if it's a good trait. But enough about that. Let's talk about something else. Okay, so on the topic of romance situations, whatnot, let me tell you guys about my current love life. Obviously it's a mess, it's in shambles. It's like a fucking dumpster fire. Like every new character added is just what? But I think for me personally, I don't think I'm ready to be in a relationship. I think this summer has taught me that I don't think I'm ready for a relationship yet. I still am figuring out who the fuck I am. And the more people I meet and the more encounters I have and situationships I have, the more I discover not that maybe I should be single for the rest of my life, but damn near close. Like maybe I should just put a break on this. I don't think I'm specifically the problem. I think other people are the problem, but I think I'm getting involved with the wrong people on purpose. That's what I've come to discover. I think it's easier to get involved with someone who's the wrong person for you, who you know is not right, because you know at any point I can just step out of this. At any point I can just say, you know what, they're not treating me right, I'm gonna go. Or I can just be like, I'm not getting enough attention, I'm gonna go. I think it's super easy to do that because then you don't ever get hurt. I hate getting hurt. I think the worst thing known to man is having a crush. Oh my fucking gosh, I hate it. I used to love it. I used to love getting a crush, but it makes me feel like I'm going crazy. And I get so attached. This goes back to loving people so deeply. I care about people and I love people so deeply, but I think sometimes a flaw that I do have, and maybe you have this too, is I see people as projects. I see everyone as a project, even myself. I do see you as a full person, yes, like full potential, whatever. But I always can look at someone and think, like, I'm going to be there to help them with this. And I heard this quote, and it was talking about how when you're growing up, if you don't feel like you're receiving the love that you deserve, or the love that you want, or the love that you're giving, oftentimes people find ways to be seen as useful so that the person never doesn't need them anymore. And nothing has felt more true to me. If I don't feel like I'm getting, the love or attention or something from a person, I make myself useful to them so that they feel like they still need me in their life. That's really hard to like admit, and that is really sad to say. And once again, like you shouldn't be in those kinds of situations. You should never feel like you need to bring something to the table for someone to accept you. Your friends and your partners and whoever will accept you for who you are at the time, not as a future version of yourself. So you can't be seeing yourself as a future version of yourself that needs to be fixed, but you also can't be looking at other people as future versions of themselves. And I have talked about this before where like no one is a fixer upper. You shouldn't be wanting a fixer upper. You shouldn't be looking at a partner as a project. And I often do, and I often see people as like, okay, I really like them, but there's like these three things I need to fix. And once these things are fixed and worked on, then we're going to be set and golden. But those three things could turn into three more things. There's always going to be something. You're never going to be satisfied. For example, like my dad loves to like fix up our house and stuff. When he bought the house, we actually had our house built. But when the house was built, he wasn't thinking like, oh my gosh, there's going to be this, and this we're going to need to fix. We're going to need to do this with the interior, this with the walls. He was just like, I just want a house and I just want to be on this street with this view and whatever. House is built. And then once you move in, there's, okay, you know what? It might be nice if we put this backdrop in. This might be nice for the wall with the TV. Those are things that you can address and that you can fix once you're already in the relationship and once you're already moved in. But those aren't things that you should be thinking as the house is getting built, as the relationship is starting, and as you're getting interested in someone. You shouldn't already be thinking, okay, well, I want to put the TV here. Okay, but I want to take out this entire wall. You shouldn't be thinking that, because you should be thinking, I want this house for what it is. I want this person for who they are. Something I always struggle with because I always feel like I need to fix something. And I think to protect my emotions, I'm always going to find something I can fix because then if it ends, I don't have to blame myself and I don't have to feel like I'm hurt because I can think like, well, all along, they were never going to be the one because of this. You know what I mean? That hurts other people more than it hurts yourself, I think, but it also does hurt yourself because you're self sabotaging. We don't need to self sabotage. One thing I want to talk about with the whole scope of change and times changing and people moving around is the influx of friendships. That's something that I hate about change, always have. I hate the idea of your friendships changing because of where you are in life. And it's normal, it happens, it's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to stay best friends with the same people since you were a kid. You're not even supposed to probably stay friends with the people from high school. And I've never had a problem with that ever. But what I do have the problem with is when factors of life cause friendship to change. For example, school starting again, everyone has a new plan, everyone has a different vibe. I have my best friend from home, Katie, and I've been spending a lot of time with her this summer because I've been driving back and forth from home to Tampa a lot over the summer. And every time I go home, I go and see her. And so we started hanging out. She has her own business, so I've been working at her business. We've been going for walks. We've been going out together. We've been spending a lot of extra time together. And she is someone who I will always text and always call and always figure out what's going on because I want to spend time with her. But since I moved back to Tampa and I'm kind of like permanently in Tampa for a little bit while school is starting, our friendship is very different. And we have always had a very low maintenance friendship where it's not like we need to be spending time together every single day for the friendship to last. And we met in high school and we've gone through the ups and downs of life together. I think I've gone through a lot with Katie, and she is one of my absolute best friends. But now that we aren't seeing each other every day and there's not an excuse of like, hey, I'm going for a walk, do you want to come too? It's so weird because then it's just like our friendship is just now virtual, and I don't like it. I do have some friendships where I prefer that it's virtual and I prefer how low maintenance it is, but then when it comes to your best friends, it's just like I just have a longing. I just miss her so much, and I feel like that's a lot of the friendships that I made over the summer, like the ones from back home or even the ones in Tampa that were just heavily because of it being summer and no plans and no rules and let's go on the side quest, let's go do something random. All of those friendships, it feels like, are coming to an end now, and I really don't like it. And I'm wondering if anyone else is struggling with that, where it's not like you're losing friends. Like me and Katie, our friendship is not lost. We still have our friendship, and anytime I go home, I can always still hang out with her and she can always come and visit me. But it's just like the idea of like our routine of like every single day we're going for a walk or every week we're gonna work together. It's not like that anymore. And that's how it was in high school. So this whole summer has felt like me returning to a high school phase. Being in my hometown, well, not my hometown, but my high school hometown, going to the gas station that I would go to during high school, going to the gas station that had the alcohol that I would go to during high school, like going to the ice cream shop, going for the walks. It just feels back to high school with no worries and no cares, and I'm just going to stay out with my friends all the time. And I haven't lost any of those friendships. I had another friendship that I made this summer that I was friends with her in high school, but then we kind of like rekindled our friendship, whatever, over the summer. And I was hanging out with her a lot this summer too. And now I'm back here and we're not hanging out every single week. And she's has her own plans. She's moving on to do whatever she wants to do. And it's like, obviously the friendship isn't lost, but it's just different. And it's just circumstantially different because of where we are in life. But those are the kinds of friendships and the kind of change that I hate because it's like no one can help it. I can't help that I have to be here in Tampa. You can't help that you live over here. But it's something that I just really hate. And I wonder if other people are struggling with that, especially as we're all coming back from summer, where it's like you were with your best friends all summer and you were with your family, and it's like kind of hard to come back into that. I hate the idea, and it feels like I'm losing a friend, even though I know I didn't. It's just weird. So, in the wake of me going through this, like, kind of like seasonal depression and trying to figure out different ways to, like, get up and get out of bed in the morning, I started journaling a little bit more. The things that I've been doing is sleeping and journaling, and of course, self medicating, which I think this is working for me for now, but in the future, I do think I need to like seek out more professional help. However, journaling has always been something for me. I've always loved to read and write. I don't know if anyone knows that about me. I think you guys do know. It comes and goes, but whenever I'm feeling down or not my super best, I always journal. And I found my journal from high school as I was packing my room up from my previous apartment. And I want to just talk about this because it's like, it's not good. Obviously, it's not good. It's sad that I feel the same feelings that I did. These journal entries, this one's from December 5th, 2023. So that was a full 3 years ago. And I'm just going to read it to you guys. December 5th, 2023. I'm pushing everyone away. It's so bad. I don't want to hurt anyone by letting them get too close to me, but I guess it's worse by pushing them away. It just fucking sucks. I miss this person so much. And I got a smoothie. That was the best part of my day. That's the entire entry. That is fucking devastating. That little 17, 18, freshly 18-year-old Joanna was experiencing that. And as I said, I don't want to hurt anyone by letting them get too close to me, but I guess it's worse by pushing them away. This is super important to me. And I always vocalize this, but I've always had a hard time taking my own advice is getting help if you need help, asking people for help, asking a friend, talking to a parent about it. I think it's been proven that talking through your problems can help you a little bit, if not give you a solution, but just take a little bit of weight off your shoulder. And I'm still at the same spot of like, I want to reach out for help and I want to ask someone when I'm hurt, but I don't want to burden anyone. I don't want other people to feel like they have to deal with my problems, and I don't want anyone to feel the way I feel or even feel a sliver of it. So I'd rather just keep it to myself, but ultimately that is hurting me at the end. And I just thought that was crazy, and that's just something I have to share because that was literally 3 years ago. Me writing, I'm hurting so bad. Everything fucking sucks. The best part of my day was getting a smoothie, but I was like, I don't want to hurt anyone by letting anyone in. If you have that mindset about anything, you have to let it go. You have to get help, ask for help. And I've gotten better at it. I think okay, so back to the journal. This entry that I just read to you guys was December 5th. Okay, this is December 10th. I'm not sure if it's getting better or worse, but today will be a good day and I'm just going to be positive. And I just cleaned my room and my outfit plan is super cute and I just feel fresh and clean and hopefully it'll be all better. See the dramatic difference in those two journal entries? And you know what? I had said that I just got out of the breakup. This day that I wrote that entry feeling better, that was the day we broke up. And I start my morning, I get up out of bed, I brush my teeth, I do the things to take care of myself. I'm just having a hard time feeling any emotion with it and feeling joy in those things and feeling joy in the things that I love to do and the foods that I love to eat. And the journal entries that I'm writing to in this time sound more like that second one where I'm like, you know what? It's going to be a good day. I'm going to be positive, but it's not always like that. No matter how many times that day, that morning, I started off the day, I was listening to Drake. I remember this day like it was yesterday, and I think it's because it was such a like weird day for me that I had started off the day so great. I was listening to Drake, which obviously, if you're starting the morning off with Drake, like it's gonna be a good fucking day. I was listening to Drake. I had the best outfit plan for school that day. I was up and at 'em, and it still ended. And when I turned to the very next page of December, it's one sentence, and then the next page, December 13th, has nothing written on it. I just wrote the date. And I think that just shows how much I was struggling and how I was just kind of trying to live life with the mindset of like, I'm going to be positive and it's going to be okay. Sometimes being positive isn't the solution. Obviously, you want to look at life with a good outlook, but it's like when you're sick. If you're sick with a cold in bed, um thinking, okay, I'll feel better, I'm feeling better now, isn't going to solve your problems. It might make you feel better for 5 seconds cuz you're convincing yourself you feel fine, but it's not going to solve it. And being positive, and me waking up in the morning and saying like, I don't know what the day is going to bring, but like I'm going to be positive about today. Of course, that's a great mindset to have, but that in itself is not enough. The part that would have helped me more is reaching out to someone and being like, hey, I'm really struggling. You can be positive all you fucking want. You can be excited for the day. You can wake up with a smile on your face and listen to good music and have a good outfit. But if you are mentally crippled, if you are sick in your brain, I don't think being positive about every day is necessarily going to help. I think reaching out and getting the help that you need, that's going to help. When I explain this like depression to you guys, I want you to picture like going outside. Everything that you see in color is like gray. Eating food, everything tastes like the color gray. Having conversations tires you out. Picking up my phone to text my friends back makes me feel like, whew, like I need a rest. I'm drained mentally. Going to the gym and going for my walks and getting exercise, I feel like I have no strength in my body. If it just feels like my brain, everything is on like 6%, and like it's like lagging a little bit, like someone needs to plug it in. That's how it feels every single day waking up. And now picture that, but picture all your friends are unaware. So when you go outside and you go out with your friends, you are just acting like everything's fine and you're having a great old time, and you are having a good time. It's not just you're faking it. You're having a wonderful, wonderful time. Everything's in color. You get home, back to gray. That's how it feels. That's how this seasonal depression feels to me. And I get this every single year. And maybe this is more to me, like I should be getting help. But if you also feel this way, if you feel any symptoms like this, get help. You need to get help. Things are changing so fast, as I said. What a perfect way to wrap this up. Things are changing so fast, and I think like we don't even have time to stop and smell the flowers. Like you don't even have time to stop and breathe and think, wow, what a beautiful day. Wow, what is this life that I'm living? Like we don't really stop to think that ever because we're moving so fast and things are moving so fast. And that's why I think it's so hard to reach out to people. But this is literally proof of 3 years later, still feeling the same way, still feeling the same feelings. Should probably get help. What a depressing ass episode. I mean, I hope this was your wake up call if you have been struggling with something emotionally, mentally, physically. Get help. Seek out people and surround yourself with people who can help you and who are there to listen to you. And then also check on your friends. I've said this before so many times, but check on your friends. You don't know what anyone is going through. Most of my friends are going to hear about these experiences that I'm having from this episode and be like, Jordan, what the fuck? Like, none of us knew this. Like, you didn't tell us this. And then I was just like, oh, sorry guys, my bad. Like, I didn't tell you guys. You don't have to live through life gray, which is which is how I've been living. Get help if you need. Anyways, I'm really, really glad I got to come in here and talk to you guys for a little bit. This is just what I needed, and I hope you felt something as you listened to this. Obviously, I did, as always. And I love you all so much, and I will see everyone next week.